Hey, Tom. Anyway, nice to have you on board. And welcome to what is our very first, what we're calling next big thing. Um, our look at what's really interesting for you, our invited guest, and for folks listening and watching. But how about giving us a quick intro about, who you are and what you're doing in the world of crypto right now, if you wouldn't mind, sir.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Tom. I'm a tech reporter for Telegraph. I also do a few interviews with industry folks, entrepreneurs from DeFi space, the NFT space, and I also write the DeFi newsletter. And I've been in the industry since around 2017. Mostly been a journalist, so I'm always involved in different stories and different developments.
That's awesome.
Cool. How about you, Scott? Give us your 60 seconds.
Okay, I can tell you a little bit about me. I work for BigONE. I work around Andy Lynn and, of course, Stuart right now. Just enjoying the life of marketing from North America. So I handle Canada and the US right now for BigONE. It's a crazy new market for us, and it's exciting, and it's a new adventure, and it's going to be interesting bringing BigONE to North America and experiencing that side of things. So yeah, super excited.
Hey, well, I'll just get mine out of the way. My name's Stuart. I'm working on PR content with BigONE. I've been in crypto, been down the rabbit hole since, 2017. I know a lot of people got into Bitcoin early on, but I'm a bit of a drama as well as the detail. It's the drama of the whole ICO boom really sucked me in, and worked on a couple of projects, including one at Canary Wharf, right in the heart of London's financial district. But right now, I'm just stoked to be working for BigONE, and great to have this chance to talk with you, Tom, and find out what's really going on. You got the inside scoop, so to speak. One thing that I know last week what was really big in the news was what's happening, with legalization of Bitcoin in El Salvador. So I jump in the deep end with a question that was on wanted to get off my chest. Because I know you've written a lot about Bitcoin and about Bitcoin around the world. So kind of interested, and I'm sure people watching are, what you make of what's been happening in El Salvador and Brazil, and maybe other places like Vietnam, where crypto is super popular. Be good to get your take.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think it's really interesting, like the El Salvador story. Obviously, it's the first country in the world to kind of recognize Bitcoin as a legal currency, as a legal tender, and it really sets precedent. And I know it is a small country, and they probably have greater facilities to adopt this sort of emerging asset rather than like a larger country. But it does kind of, as I said, set precedent, and it does start the ball rolling. And I think a lot more countries will follow lead from that. I recently saw a story about Cuba. I think they were looking to recognize like cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, as well. And I think you'll see a lot more of that happening in the coming, probably going into next year. I think now the kind of governments are starting to warm to it a little bit more, warm to the idea a bit more, and understand maybe the rules around taxation and regulation, and I think we'll start to see more of the adoption on that front.
Yeah. You've written something about Bitcoin in Brazil, is that right? I mean, what's going on in Brazil? Because that's obviously a lot bigger country than El Salvador, if my geography serves me right, and that could have pretty big implications for other parts of the world. So it'd be interesting to hear what's going on there.
Yeah. I don't think I've written especially about Brazil, but I know there are interesting developments going on there. I think the government are quite keen to explore like digital assets, and they're kind of exploring the potential of adoption. But yeah, I mean, I think, as I said, I think you'll see a lot of countries like that in emerging markets start to take awareness of that, obviously, because the sovereignty of the US dollar is so strong across much of like the Western world. These countries are looking for alternative currencies to try and give them a kind of advantage going into this Web3 kind of era, I would say.
I think the big thing too, like just in my thought process of it, is you're cutting out that middle person that people use right now. My wife is from the Philippines, for instance, and one of the biggest thing is sending money back home. You're using a money lender that is taking a percentage of your money every time you're transferring it. And with cryptocurrency, you have that ability to transfer money without a middle person. It's just digital wallet to digital wallet and then to an ATM. So it's going to be intriguing to watch that happen as well, and help. I think it's going to help produce a lot more business in other countries and stuff as well when I see that adoption, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think also not just on like the Bitcoin centric side. I think like you see countries such as like the Philippines where they're adopting like play to earn games like Axie Infinity, and a lot of people from like lower economic backgrounds are kind of finding financial incentives from these like tokenized games. And I think that's like, I think Colombia as well. I might be Venezuela, but I'm not. There's countries that are kind of really benefiting from that as well. So there's lots of different angles, obviously, within crypto.
What do you think of the whole GameFi thing?
I think it's really interesting. Yeah. I think it kind of opens up this whole metaverse, talk of the metaverse. Like it's fascinating. I don't really cover it too much, but if there's one area I'd love to like dive into a lot more, it'd be that just the potential for new layers of value and assets within this like like a metaverse kind of fictional world kind of. I think it's interesting.
I'm watching actually a crypto project based out. I don't know exactly where it's based out of, but it's called MetaHero, and they're making digital scans of people, and it's a full 4K, like better than 4K scan of yourself, and they're saying it can be done in seconds. So they're going to that conference in Dubai, I believe it is, and they plan on scanning something like 60,000 people, if I'm not mistaken, when they're there. And you can basically take a copy of yourself after it's done. They'll download it and put it on a disc or whichever for you to actually kind of put yourself in the metaverse as your own character. And they're thinking about 3D NFTs and all that stuff as well, which as well as me, the NFTs are becoming bigger and bigger, and the usage for them, I think, is changing. And I'm kind of interested in your thought on that. What is your thoughts on NFTs and what direction they should maybe go in, or what your thoughts are on it?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's evolving like in front of our eyes at the moment. NFT space, it's kind of, we had the punks, the apes, the cats, and loads of different things, and they're all, they're interesting. They're pixelated avatars, and but they're very static images. But I think what you spoke about there is more where we're going to see it evolve to as we progress. And an NFT doesn't have to be actually I was looking at a project, Artifact, like a next generation sneaker kind of AR fashion company. I was speaking to them recently, and they create these sneaker NFTs, and it's kind of like a revolving virtual image, and you can place them into. I think they're thinking about placing them into metaverses in the future. So I think things like that, it's gonna become more real life, more immersive.
Yeah.
Hmm.
What are your
Yeah,
thoughts?
for sure. Well, yeah, don't get me started on it because I just won't stop talking. But okay, what do I think of it? Well, as I was sharing with Tom actually just the other day, it's interesting that that back in the day was these glasses like augmented reality glasses that
Mm.
the Google Glass kind of didn't quite take off because they're a bit clunky. But now Facebook have just brought out their Ray-Bans, which is an augmented smart glass, whatever the term is, but you get my drift. And I know Xiaomi's brought out their own pair as well.
Mm.
But I was surprised that Facebook hadn't taken advantage, bearing in mind Zuckerberg was just saying a few weeks ago that, Metaverse is, the future and all that. Like, well, I wouldn't mind being in the Metaverse if I could wear some Ray-Bans and I was transported there. So how about it? You know what I mean?
Mm.
I have the Oculus 2 right now.
Mm.
And that's the Facebook side of things, and I've been in it, and I played it a few times. I haven't played it as much as I probably should having it, but it's kind of interesting, and they're actually opening up like meeting spaces for people. So if you have your Oculus, you can all go there virtually and have meetings with each other, and it's like you're in an office but in a virtual world. So you kind of see where they're pushing for is for people to more stay at home and work out of their homes in the metaverse, which will be kind of interesting. As you see right now, I'm in Canada, you guys are in Britain. Like everything is slowly opening up globally for people to work together from all parts of the world. So
yeah, for sure, for sure. But I think definitely another important part of the whole NFTs metaverse thing is, what's the cryptocurrency that's going to, rule them all? Which one's going to be the currency that's, going to get used? Because I don't think anyone like corporation like Facebook's going to be in control. It's going to be very much a community or communities thing. So, it may be something like a Dogecoin or meme coin that ends up being the US dollar of the metaverse. What do you reckon to that, Tom? That idea?
I think yeah, it's an idea. I think you're probably right. Instead of like a government-backed token, it's more like a community-led one. But I think like Ethereum is really like you can't really look past that at this point. But as I said, that the whole metaverse hasn't really been established in the mainstream yet. So there's plenty of time. We see projects crop up all the time, and I think what it will be, it probably won't be just one universal currency. It'll be different tokens for different ecosystems, like there are now, like for like Axie you get their token, or for Decentraland there's their token, or for Zuckerberg's metaverse he'll probably have his their Deem wallet or whatever it's called these days. So I think different tokens for different ecosystems, and it's just how they like communicate or exchange, like cross-chain, I think.
Yeah, and you're seeing a lot of that now where they're bridging other tokens with each other and making it easier and easier to actually do those cross-platform blockchains, basically.
Yeah. I think that's kind of the goal, I think, to try and improve connectivity between different chains. Yeah.
What is your favorite cryptocurrency at the moment? You must have a favorite.
Okay. I think I'm going to be boring and say Ethereum. Like, I think, yeah, I'm going to say
Ethereum. Why Ethereum? Why is that your top of the pops?
Yeah, I think it's just it's just consistent. And I think like there's so many different coins coming out there, and you kind of a lot of investors kind of take a punt on all coins, and that's kind of where they place their money to try and get those gains and things like that. But I think Ethereum is often overlooked quite a lot for its value that it's bringing to the whole crypto space. I saw that like Vitalik got ranked in the Time 100 most influential people today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and like things like that. It's just that reminds you of like the actual impact that kind of Ethereum is making. I think it's up to like 425 billion in market cap now. You know, it's really making it's grown the whole DApp space, the whole NFTs. It's really facilitated a lot of growth in a lot of different areas, obviously smart contracts. So yeah, I can't really look past Ethereum.
Did I hear that they're having a second, or not the London hard fork, but the next one that's coming up, they're having an issue with it or something?
Possibly. I didn't really hear that, to be fair, but possibly.
I wasn't sure.
BH2, I think that's what it's called, right?
Yeah, they weren't able, something was going on with it. I'm not sure exactly what, but somebody was mentioning about it, something about the fuel or something actually not working the way it should on Ethereum. But I agree with you. It's amazing to watch what Ethereum is doing. And the only thing that I think is personally holding it back a little bit is the actual gas fees itself. They're a little bit high right at the moment, especially when you get into busier times and people are trying to trade their NFTs or whatever, and they're seeing the price to even just get out of it. So now you're seeing, like, I was just watching recently, like BNB or Binance has got into NFTs now, and then you have Solana that's starting to as well. Like there's all these other markets that are opening up to it. But again, that's just an example of cross chains almost in a way, because they're going to probably work together in the end, I'm betting.
Yeah, I mean, funny you should mention Solana. I'm a bit of a fan of Solana, you know, on that kind of stream of consciousness, Tom, you know, because I just like the fact it's a lot faster and scalable compared to Ethereum. I'm sure there's, you know, there's room in this world for both of them, don't get me wrong, but I've looked at Solana and I'm really impressed by their, you know, their developer community, their hackathons they've been running around the world. So yeah, I think, and you know, I know they've had a couple of bugs in the last week or so with, because they've got so much traffic going on. It's almost like the price of success, right?
Yeah. No, I am really impressed with Solana actually. Like the growth that really came out of nowhere, and the growth has just been remarkable. And they seem to be the biggest compared to Ethereum at the moment, like taking the dominance away from them, especially like as Scott said, they're like with the gas fees, the issues around that, it kind of is drawn a few people away from that network and towards Solana and others. But yeah, they're making good moves, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a couple of NFTs that I've made myself, you know, just for fun, just to check it out and put them on OpenSea. And, you know, they say it's free, but then when you actually want to post them for sale, that's when the gas fees kick in, right?
Yeah, the mint. Yeah, you can mint them for free, but then the gas fees, obviously. But we'll see how that like improves over. I think it's like a 2-year process to go to a proof of stake for Ethereum. So,
right.
Well, they're even talking about NFTs being like a thing where you can hold records in NFTs, like actual contracts and different things that will keep an electronic copy of it forever, which is amazing. There's not that ability if a fire happens or something happens that you lose it, because it's always on that digital blockchain, right? Unless somebody's not securing their own wallet, I guess, per se. What are your thoughts on things like VChain?
Yeah. Well, I think VChain is quite interesting. It's one of those that have gone under the radar a little bit. I know around 2 years ago it got a lot of mainstream attention, but it's gone a little bit under the radar a little bit now. And I wrote a piece on it a few weeks ago, actually. They kind of they were looking at carbon initiatives. They launched a new service, which is going to kind of allow businesses and enterprises to track their carbon footprint. And you know, you're increasing the how can I say, like, accountability of the supply chain. And then businesses are like accountable for their own carbon footprint data. And so I like goodwill initiatives like that. I saw that the other day and I was quite pleased with that. But VChain overall, I think it's making consistent maybe steps that are not being noticed that widely, but consistent steps. Yeah,
That's awesome. And I can talk forever. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm gonna hand it over to Stuart now as well. And it was really nice talking to you today. I really actually enjoyed your knowledge in that, and it definitely opens up more ideas for me to look into. I'm always researching and trying to gain that knowledge because the market is constantly changing. So
yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good one. What about in terms of, you know, as a journalist right now and, you know, working for Telegraph, what are you like super interested in? What's really got your attention, you know, right now then, Tom?
What has got my attention?
Yeah.
I would say that, like, I have a kind of an eye for environmental things, environmental goodwill causes and things like that. So that did please me, seeing that VChain thing. But also I would say perhaps because I'm obviously from England, maybe there was a recent, like, European kind of blockchain initiative from the European Commission. They selected a various number of kind of IoT platforms, distributed ledger platforms, to support on their kind of the blockchain initiative, and they chose like IOTA as one of those. So that was quite an interesting piece. I like to see more collaborations between crypto companies and governments, but not losing the kind of core principles of what crypto is. We don't want to go down like a centralized route or anything like that, or losing any kind of accountability or transparency. But I think in integration within the existing system, I like to see things like that.
And I guess part of that is, you know, the whole push now for more regulation in crypto. That's obviously a big one happening right now with what's happening in America, but that's also, I guess, in Europe as well, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, as I said, I've been in the market since 2017, and back then, like, everyone was, well, Warren Buffett was coming out with, a tirade of insults on the crypto market, and every single week, and everyone was. But now I think governments are starting to understand the potential of it, and it's not. They've looked beyond, like, the bullish gains of crypto to the potential of DLT, to blockchain, now to DeFi, things like that, and it's becoming more appealing to them. So it's nice to see those sorts of partnerships emerging, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, Scott, did you have any more questions yourself?
No, I think I respect what you're saying about keeping decentralized. I do feel that I always like to refer back to Satoshi. I believe in his whole ideas and his ideas behind where he started Bitcoin. And when he left Bitcoin, he did kind of suggest that it still needed to have an evolution. Like, there was still more that we can do with cryptocurrency as a whole. And I 100% agree with that. It needs to make change. And the biggest thing that I think that cryptocurrency is going to be the changer for is developing countries, like you mentioned, Africa, even South America. We're going to see it in Asia countries as well. And it's going to stop that reliance on the bigger federation of countries. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing or not, but I think sometimes, like for instance, Mongolia is heavily, it has heavy resources right now that's being used by China. And by giving the ability of having blockchain in that country is allowing them to do microloans and different things there to actually open up trade and commerce on their own without having to rely on somebody else. And I can see that big push in the cryptocurrency world, and I'm super excited for that, because I feel for it. Like there's so many countries where they say like 70% of the people don't even have access to a bank. So given that ability to have a bank now, or be able to have money to get a microloan to start a business or have an opportunity is amazing. So that would be, I guess, my closing thing to that. And I 100% agree with you.
Cool. Is this a good place to pause then, gentlemen?
Yeah, for sure. We'll end it at this. It was very nice meeting you, Tom. And of course, Stuart,
yeah, likewise.
Yeah, me and Stuart will see each other again on our next show, and hopefully we can have you back on here, Tom. We'd love to interview you more. And as the landscape changes, I'm pretty sure we're going to want you up here giving us your sagely advice.
Yeah, for sure. Happy to come back on.
Yeah, get the inside scoop of Tom. Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Have a good day, you guys.
Thanks a lot.
All right. Nice one. Thank you.
Bye.